Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Peace Talks. This is a series where we catch up with the bands and artists that are coming to play for us at the Marr in Worcester. And today I'm joined by a bassist, vocalist, an actor, and is also the co-leader of the Detroitwich Funk Machine, which is coming up on Thursday, next Thursday. It's Thursday the 22nd of January. So, hi Tom, thanks for joining us today.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, indeed, yeah.
Thanks for the gig, Dave. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've seen the band. I think I saw it. It was this week actually in Stratford. You played your first of your little mini tour for the West Midlands, Stratford Jazz. That was a good turnout there. So I think that was probably the fourth or maybe fifth time I've seen the band. Definitely four times I think before. So
yeah,
enjoyed it very much each time. And we'll get into a little bit about the band in the interview. But I also wanted to touch on the because you've got a bit of a connection with the Mars Bar yourself. Because you're living in I was going to say you're living in Detroitwich. You're living in Detroitwich now, but we'll come on to that. But yeah, the Mars Bar. So I'll tell you the first. I suppose the first connection I made with your son Quentin.
Yes.
Because I started going to the Mars Bar in 22. We moved up here, me and my wife moved up here to Evesham in 2018.
From where?
From Watford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, down in London.
You escaped the M25, man.
Escaped the M25. I'd lived there for 48 years.
Yeah. Wow.
It was a long time to move. But yeah, so it was around the spring of 2022 that I went up to see a band. It was a Steely Dan tribute band, Stanley D, that was playing there. They used to play they're based down near Hertfordshire. So I've seen them a couple of times down in the south.
All right.
And they were playing there. So that was my first visit to the Mars Bar. And then I got chatting with Marsy and he told me about the jam night they had there. Went along to the jam night and your son Quentin, the massive giant of a man.
Yeah. He's only 6'8".
Yeah, he was he was a house band drummer at the time. So yeah, I started getting along to those pretty much every week in 2022 from that point on, and met a lot of the Worcester-based musicians around there. So I think Sarah Walker was on bass in the house band then.
Yeah,
her career has taken off very well at the moment. Since then, and I think it was Shannon Killarney swapped out with. Quentin when he moved on. So let's talk a little bit about yourself, because you were born in California.
Born in Northern California, a little town called Oroville. Like gold is oro, right? So
right, okay.
Oroville was like one of the centers of the California gold rush, and small town, and that's where I was born and raised.
Cool. And a musical family?
Yeah, my mother was a pianist. Her mother was a pianist. So I was forced to take piano lessons as a kid, which was the greatest thing. I hated it at the time, but there was 5 of us, and we all were forced to play piano when we were little. So when I drove them nuts, man. They finally let me quit when I was about 11 or 12 because I was just such a brat to my own little sweet grandma. Sorry, Granny. I know you're up there listening. And but then when I took up the bass, I was almost 20 years old, but I could already read bass and treble clef. So I got into it pretty easy.
Cool. And you'd play electric and acoustic double bass. Did you start on the electric?
I started on double bass. And my cousin Tiny, who's when you've seen me with jazz groups and I've got that little skinny bass, like the one we play with Fat Chops, that was one of his basses. But he was in the Boston Symphony. And when I was like 16, he came through my hometown. And my grandfather, if you've seen my other bass, I've got my grandfather's bass. So I've been totally blessed with having a couple of family heirlooms, which are both really nice double basses. So that was my cousin came through town when I was about 16, and he played some music with my uncle, and I kind of got the bug then. And then when I was about 19, he invited me back to live with him, and I studied with him for a while, and then I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston. Did a couple years there.
Did you drop out like everyone called us?
No. They had a 2-year program, and so I just did a 2-year instrumental performance program because I was really green as far as anything else. If I had it to do all over again, I would have taken the arranging classes that were there, because there was some great guys writing there. And what a scene when I was back there too. I mean, there was like You know, Pat Metheny was playing with Jocko and Bob Moses, you know, over in Cambridge and in Boston when I was there. There was a place called the Jazz Workshop in Paul's Mall, where one side would be Miles for like $5, the other side would be like Keith Jarrett for $5 and a 2-drink minimum. I saw those guys. I saw Roland Kirk. I saw George Benson, Keith Jarrett, just a whole bunch, you know, like top shelf artists at the times. You know, that's mid-70s.
Right. Yeah. Cool. And you also got into voice work. Was that sort of voiceovers and stuff? Was that in the US or was that after you moved to the UK?
That was when I was born. I've always been a freak. I've always been a freak for sound, you know. And my mom said before I could talk, I could impersonate the neighborhood dogs, you know. Like Mitzi was like high pitched, you know, and Duke down the block was, I couldn't get him that low when I was like 2, you know, but close to it. And then I think when I got my first gig, the thing that is amazing, I'd been playing the bass for 4 months when I was in Boston. And my melody and improvisation teacher was a guy named Gary Ruggiero, nice Italiano. And he'd just gotten off the road with the Fifth Dimension playing, would you like to ride in my beautiful, and must be the dawning. He was in that band, right? And I don't know why he hired me, but he hired me for his band. And I did kind of an audition. But I did, I sang Louis Armstrong on Hello Dolly. Well, hello, so he must have thought, this kid's obnoxious, you know. And I was so green, man. You know, let's like play the girl from Ipanema like a bossa. Boom, doom, doom. I didn't even know that. I'm playing like blues licks. And they go, no, man, just play the root and the fifth, go boom, boom. That's how green I was, you know, and started working right away. I could go on.
Cool. Well,
he had the house gig at, we used to call it a mafia wedding factory. It was called Caruso's Diplomat. Front bar, small function room, 2 bigger function rooms, and another smaller one up the hill, and that's where they kept the attack dog. And so like every weekend we would play whichever Italian wedding we wanted, and then he would hire out the other bands. So yeah, it was crazy. You know, it was like 4 months in, and I'm working with that band and making money and wearing a ruffled tuxedo shirt, and it was amazing.
Cool. So you came to the UK early 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I moved from Boston to LA, and then to Northern California just to get some money together. Then LA, and then 1980 I went out on the cruise ships. Right. And all the musicians were US and all the casino girls were UK. And this beautiful brunette across the dining room saw me and thought, green card. So that's when I met Jackie, my first wife, the mother of all my kids. And we lived in LA for over 11 years. And I worked over there. But as far as the voiceover thing, I was dabbling in that and dabbling in acting sort of thing. But I was a full-time musician.
Yeah.
And then when I moved over here in '93, it flip-flopped. I was working just as much playing music, but because of the accent, my competition kind of dwindled. And that's what paid for the house and put the kids through school.
Any, I know of one, of course, but I don't, you know, it's up to you if you want to bring it up. But any voiceovers we might have heard before?
Yeah, Tony the Tiger, man. That was the one that put the kids through school. Kellogg's Frosties, they're great. Now brush your teeth.
Fantastic. I never presume that, you know, some people want to keep those kind of things. So.
No, I don't care, man. Quentin's got Tony the Tiger playing a bass on his leg. He goes, "Oh, look at this tattoo," and I go, "Oh man, you got to be kidding me." Tony the Tiger playing the bass, man. But cool. Yeah, I've been real blessed with that, and a lot of PlayStation games that got a lot of momentum. Like there's one called Time Splitters that turned into a cult sort of a game, and Witcher, and Sniper Elite 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe 6, but I shouldn't say that. And yeah, just a bunch of stuff. Marvel superheroes, Lego sort of things.
Right.
It cracks me up, you know, some of the stuff I've been hired for, just making noise, you know. So cool.
It's actually, I just thought, because this will kind of it's an area that I've often discussed with people I'm interviewing, is the use of AI and how that's kind of encroaching on stuff. And from your point of view, obviously, I don't know how much you've done in the way of recording, but I've only ever sort of encountered you playing live, which obviously AI is not able to touch at all. But yeah, as a voiceover, are you finding is it becoming a problem already?
Yes, it's devastating right now, man.
Yeah.
I know people that have just quit. They're going to retraining and doing other careers. It's almost like it's lockdown actually for voiceovers was amazing. I had some of the best voiceover gigs of my life during lockdown, just because it leveled the playing field that anybody with a decent studio, I can get a good sound out of this room, was competing with anybody anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
But as far as what's going on now, man, is I know people whose main work was e-learning and on-hold messages,
right? Yeah.
Corporate stuff where I would just talk, and especially I used to do a lot of e-learning where you're talking to people where English is their second language. So you have to talk slowly and enunciate everything already. And AI sounds like that to begin with, until you tell it, say, hey, make it sound a little bit hipper, But I'm telling you, man, AI is here to stay. So you just got to deal with it. There was a book. You ever hear of a book called Who Moved My Cheese or Who Moved the Cheese?
I haven't, no.
Really skinny little book, man. And it's about these three mice. And they're always used to getting their cheese at the same place. And all of a sudden, somebody moved their cheese. And this one mouse just keeps coming back there. This is where the cheese should be. This is where it's always been. And he starves to death, And I forget what happens to the second mouse that does something wrong. But the other mouse just goes where the new cheese is. So I think the thing with AI now is just going to be the imagination of people giving it directions. And also, and something with the music stuff, man. I'll have to play you something sometime. It's Quentin's girlfriend kind of had a musical rant, just a 90-second rant with her lovely Italian accent. And we put it to AI and turned it into all these different genres. And it's incredible. And I played it for some people. And they go, that's amazing, yet scary, yet devastating as to what's going on. So yeah, it's here to stay though, man.
I think exactly as you say, it's here to stay. And I think I think one thing that's I believe will happen, and I hope will happen, is that the value and recognition for live music will start to hopefully get back to where it was, and I think it'll become more valuable because there's just so much stuff. I saw something yesterday, around 40% of new stuff that's being uploaded to Spotify is AI, but what they don't tell you is how much what percentage of that is actually being listened to. Because I mean, there's so much stuff that gets uploaded now, that just isn't being listened to. But everyone else who's actually making real music is competing with that to some extent. I mean, I dropped Spotify last year, about 6 months ago now, and I think lots of people are. And there's I'll be covering something in my newsletter probably this week, but there's a new platform coming out that looks quite promising actually, and it's a much more democratic kind of thing. So I'll keep an eye out for that in the Music Matters newsletter. A bit of a plug for that on this video. If
Music Matters,
Music Matters does matter indeed.
It out. Yeah, a friend of mine is a folk singer, kind of Joni Mitchell style sort of stuff, and she's recorded all her stuff herself and stuck it up on Spotify, and the robots are policing what happens to the music once it's on there. And she got a fine for 7 illegal streams. And she had no idea what that meant. Yeah, she had no idea what that meant. And then she tries to get a hold of him, and then you can't get a hold of a human.
No, of course not.
Yeah. And it's, and if that keeps up, they're saying, I think what it is Spotify looks out for if I hired somebody that sitting in a bunker in China or something like that to just keep blasting my music all over the place to make it look like I was happening, that sort of thing. And that would be like hundreds, thousands, millions of streams or something like that. This was for 7 illegal streams that she has no idea who grabbed what and did what with.
Yeah, that's madness, isn't it?
So I don't blame you for dropping it. And when she said that, it kind of made me glad that I've had a hard time putting my stuff up there, because I tried a couple of times and it's like, you got to pick a platform. I picked CD Baby or something. And then once I started doing it, it got complicated and I said, forget it.
Yeah.
and then I think I'll get back to it, and then I don't.
Yeah, I think I mean there are obviously alternatives there, and I think a lot of people have moved away from Spotify last year because of for other ethical reasons as well. But I think you know I think there's an audience of people that appreciate music and found it convenient. I mean, I joined them in 2014,
Yeah,
and it was great because actually I discovered a lot of new music through it. But now I don't discover new music through that. I've gone back to listen to radio shows,
right.
online stations like Jazz Funk Soul Radio, Totally Wired, stuff like that, One Jazz and that kind of stuff. And obviously, as you know, I get to lots of gigs. So
You do, man. You are busy.
but yeah, it's so I think that, you know, for people who want music just in the background while they're doing the housework or whatever, that's a quite a different market. But I think the people who
Well, I often find these new little treasures or something, you know, where I put on, you know, Jocko or something like that, just one tune. And the next thing you know, you're getting all these other bass players that are in that style. You know, you hear Steve Bailey or Gary Willis. I've been listening to a Tribal Tech album the last couple of days from 2011.
right.
Scott Henderson and Gary Willis, and I forget who the drummer is. It's great stuff, man. But you know, the thing is if some other platforms are going to do that as well, you know, and but you know, you're getting back to live music sort of things. Are you hip to that band Vulpec?
I've heard of them.
I've
I've not
just
dug
discovered
into
them,
them.
man.
Yeah,
So because Pelham likes them because they're funky, and they sold out Madison Square Garden, and they had a
right.
song called "My Daddy's Got a Tesla" or "Your Daddy's Got a Tesla" or something like that. But it's just a groovy, crazy thing, and at the end they all go, "Your daddy's got a Tesla." But supposedly, I went back and I kind of researched them. Their first album that I found was 2011, and it almost sounded like backing tracks. And it
Hmm.
almost sounded like, have you listened to D'Angelo much?
Hmm.
Like D'Angelo had this thing where he was telling the drummer to play, like if it's tick, 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 he's telling the drummer to go tick, tick, tick,
Hmm.
tick, tick, way behind the beat. And Pino Palladino is going, boop, 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 boop. He's like bridging the gap from where the
Right.
time
Okay.
really is to where that drummer's playing. It feels all wonky. And some of that Vulpec stuff sounded like they were into that and they were
Hmm.
trying to emulate that, but they're from like Lansing, Michigan or somewhere in Michigan.
Right.
And then they started a GoFundMe page to do a tour where they could let people come see them for free.
Okay.
And then things progressed over the years. I don't know the full history of it like that, but now in 2023, 24, whatever it is, they sell out Madison Square Garden without a manager and without a label.
There you go.
Like, hey, you know, so I think it's great what you're doing, man. That's why I've nicknamed you Dave Full On.
Dave, full on.
Full on live music, man. So I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. That's why I do it, you know. But so yeah, musically, when you moved to the UK, what because you had the voiceover work, but how was the music going then? Was
Well,
that
the music I got together first. I think the second or third day I got here, I was in a big band called Les Brown and the Band of Renown. And we used to do all the Bob Hope TV shows and like celebrity golf tournaments and a bunch of stuff. Recorded an album at that Capitol Records building, you see, the
Mhm.
big circular one. And it was a top band. And a couple of the horn players had been over here, a guy named Don Rader, and he
Mhm.
gave me Ian Palmer's phone number.
Oh, right.
And a guy named Bob Efford, trumpet, or no, he was a baritone sax player, but he played tenor as well. He was from London, and he gave me a bunch of numbers as well. But through Ian, I went down to Ronnie Scott's when Ronnie Scott's was in Birmingham as well.
Mm.
And I met Steve Palmer, who was Ian's uncle, who's Carl Palmer of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. That's his brother.
Oh, right.
So Ian's dad and Steve are Carl Palmer's brothers. And
Ah,
so there's a lot of drumming
didn't
going
know
on in
that.
that family, man. And so he introduced me to Steve, and then the next day they were playing at a place on the Hagley Road called the can't remember the Strathallan Hotel. And I went down there and I sat in, and piano player was a guy named Paul Sawtell, and Steve on drums, and a really good singer named Dorothy Daly.
Mhm.
And through that, pretty soon the leader of the trio at Ronnie's went on holiday Steve called me to Dep there for about 3 weeks. And then I met some other guys. I was gigging right away, which was amazing. And
Cool.
the other cool thing is like this synchronicity, man, is there was a woman that was doing the reception named Dee, this really sweet lady, and she worked at immigration out at Birmingham Airport.
Okay.
And so I'm going out there to try to get she recognizes me. I'm standing in the line with all of these people trying to get into the country and stuff. And she sees me and she goes, come here, like motions to me, like, get over here. Got her clipboard and stuff like that. And she goes, give me your passport. I give her my passport. She goes, you'll have it back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, boom, I got the residency sticker in my passport. I was going, thank you, you know? And another thing, John Patrick, who was the president of the union at that time, or big up in the MU, I went to see him at a gig called, it was the Bear in Bearwood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he started using me for his trio. I got to play with Art Farmer, I got Tal Farlow, guys that if they'd have gone through LA, they would have called Andy Simpkins or Ray Brown or, you know, John Patitucci, or they would have called all these top shelf, you know, recording bass players and living in, and it was crazy because too, it's like, they would say Tom Hill, USA, bass, like that makes a difference, you know. Like there's guys in London who play circles around me, man, you know, but I would say, I'll take it.
Ah, he's American.
I'll take it. Hey, yeehaw. He lays down them big fat notes.
Cool. Yeah. So the Bear, was that where Silvershot, Andy Hamilton did the
Even
Silvershot
before that,
original?
if you kept going on that road, at the next stoplights, there's the Bear Tavern.
Right.
And it was upstairs there.
Right. Okay.
And I think at one point, Paul Fode, who Andy was his father-in-law.
Yeah.
He and his son,
Louis.
Yeah. They started up another jazz night there, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I think that finished up in, I think November 24 was the last one they did there. But yeah, his son Louis, he came out. He's got a band, Impossible Conversations. Fantastic. Have you seen him?
Drummer. Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen his band, but he came out here and depped on one of the rehearsals for the funk band. It was just all over it. Yeah,
the Impossible Conversations. Check them out because they do a lot of similar. They do original stuff as well, but they do a similar sort of that funky jazz stuff. So they play.
Yeah, we got to get some originals, man. I'm gonna write one called Dave Full On.
So let's talk about the Detroitwich Funk Machine then, and how it came about and what it's all about.
When I first got here back in 1993, I went to see a big band led by Gary Alcock.
Right.
And they were playing at a gig, a place called the Hen and Chickens. I called up Gary and he goes, yeah, come see us at the Hen and Chickens. And so I go to and Trevor Emeny was on sax. I don't know if you know him. He's 95 now. Great sax player, man. Sound like Stan Getz. And Andy Shillingford must have been like 20 something. And he was playing, and I got his number because I love the way he played. So that was I started my sort of relationship with Andy then, and then played with him in different groups. And we had a smaller band called the 70s Jazz Machine. So 70s.
I think I think you gave me a CD of that.
The Jazz Funk Machine.
Yeah. I got a CD of that back there somewhere.
Yeah. So that was Andy and I already had that going, and then that kind of fizzled out. Al Gurr was the keyboard player. He's moved down to Sussex, and and before that, the Straight Jackets. We did music of the Yellow Jackets. That started back. I'll give you a couple of those CDs.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to resurrect that. We're going to call it the Fellow Jackets. And that's with Ian Palmer's playing drums on that when he's not flying around.
Yeah.
And then some youngsters, Aaron's going to play keys and Jake DeJong on guitar. But that's early days. We're working on that. So I've had a thing going with Andy and all knowing from Fat Chops and that too. So then we just said, hey, let's put something else together with a bigger lineup to where we can do some Brecker Brothers stuff and some Herbie and some other things. And it started out as four horns, and then I think I hadn't added baritone yet, and then trombone couldn't make it 1 week, so we had baritone, and then we got a gig and said, well, I want them both. So next thing we got five. Because you can't, those things, you know, you can't think about, well, we're only going to make 23 quid each if we do it with 5 pieces or something. You know? You just got to go for it. It's something you like. And you know, Anthony or Andy and I bite the bullet sometimes if we do one at the Tower of Song and there's not that many people in, you know, try to make it worthwhile for the other guys by giving them split it 7 ways instead of 9 ways. But Stratford, we didn't have to.
No, that's great.
We don't have to.
It was a great turnout, yeah. So, and I'm really hopeful because January and February last year were really good for us. We had our best audiences in that, and actually through till March, we have really good numbers in. So and we started off last week on Thursday, but because of the storm,
oh yeah,
so I was expecting a room full, and quite a few people couldn't make it. There's still a decent crowd in. So
yeah.
But yeah, so I'm definitely expecting lots of standing Ramoni on Thursday.
That'd be great.
Dancing Ramoni, we should say.
Yeah, we'll have to leave a little spot for dancing too.
Indeed.
But Becky, you asking me, tell me about the group is. So I've known Andy for a long time. I've known Chris for almost 30 years, and then the two trumpet and trombone. I've just met those guys through Fat Chops, Alex and Dave.
Oh, okay. They're playing with Fat Chops as well.
Yeah, and they've got that great band, Diddy Swag.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I love those guys, man. They've got great energy and super chops, and the drummer Andy Brotherton. We were doing some recordings for a singer from Liverpool named Robbie Toner, and I was going over to Hereford and doing these recording sessions, and that's where I met Andy. And I love playing with him, man. He's solid and great reader. And then Tom Morgan, I'd known him for a while too, and I play in his group with great singer Lewis. Can't remember his last name right now. Sorry, Lewis. I'm getting old, man. And Lewis Connor.
Okay.
Lewis Connor, yeah. And we do a show called Smile, which is the music of
Nat
King Cole, and then it goes into Gregory Porter. And then Tom's a great player. Oh, and he played in the Jazz Funk Machine as well too. Once there was a guitar player before you got here named Lee Jones from us. He was from Ludlow, that area, but he moved to Australia. Right, so when he split, Tom Morgan started doing the Jazz Funk Machine as well. So I've known all the guys a long time, except for Aaron. And then Aaron, I think originally there was a couple other keyboard players before.
Because you had Robbie Moore
Yeah, Robbie did it for a while, and he got busy. I think he's taking his master's this year.
Right, okay.
And then a guy named Marcus Byrne, who's a great keyboard player, but he plays with David Lindley, the ELO.
Right, okay.
So he's on a road with him, and then he's got a studio, and so it just turned out he got busy, and so we've kind of settled on this lineup that we've got at the Mars Bar, except for Pelham, who's off doing something else. But Felicity Evans is Alex's wife, so she's a great player. She did the gig we did at the Castle Pub.
Ah, okay.
Which is right on the other side of my fence.
Cool, yeah, because I know Fizz and Alex from Digbeth Jazz.
Yeah,
but
I might go down there this Tuesday.
Yeah, that's going really well. I got the jazz Venue of the Year award as well this year.
All right, beautiful.
From the Parliamentary Jazz Awards. So yeah, it's they picked up. It used to be Jazz at the Spotted Dog,
right?
And that closed down a couple of years ago. They shifted it to the Night Owl, and it's really picked up. They've got
now it's Jazz at the Night Owl, but it's called Digbeth Jazz.
Digbeth Jazz, yeah. But yeah, they have every Tuesday. We get some great programming on, and it's a great team, and it's a good young crowd in there as well. Lots students.
I didn't pick up on what Dave said about Chris Potter's coming to town.
That is there's a festival going on at the Eastside Jazz Club in the Conservatoire. It's crikey. I think it's a couple of months out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's if you go to the RBC, the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire. I don't think he's playing at Digbeth Jazz, but yeah, he's there's a 3-day festival at the Eastside Jazz Club at in the Conservatoire.
I'm gonna make that if I can.
That'll be on my. I might stick it in. I might stick a preview into this week's newsletter if I get some time. But
Chris Potter is amazing, man. Have you seen that stuff he's done with Dave Holland's band?
I haven't.
Yeah, just Google, put Chris Potter, Dave Holland.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw him and Kevin Eubanks, or one of the Eubanks brothers that plays trombone. One of them plays guitar.
Kevin's guitar, isn't he?
And then there's a boxer, Chris Eubanks.
Doesn't play much music.
No.
Not good at voiceovers.
He's a real.
Although I did used to have in the.
It's too punchy.
Totally random thought when you just said that in the talking about voiceovers. Do you remember in the days when you used to have cassette answering machines?
Yeah.
Answering machines, and you could buy a cassette that had different voiceovers, and we had Frank Bruno.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not home right now. Leave a message.
There you go. Okay. It's all lost to the past, all those kind of things. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, we're really excited to get the band up. It's the biggest band that we've had. I know they've had some bigger lineups on the Mars Bar stage generally, but the biggest one for Music Spoken here. And some of the because I mentioned Robbie Moore. He played with us a couple of years back, I think, with someone. I can't remember who that was. Nye Banfield, I think it was. He came up with. And then we've had Chris Bowden. He was up with his own band, hit the Hypnosphiles. That was a really special gig, that was, because it doesn't get often the opportunity to play that music that he wrote live. So I think it ended up being just 2 gigs. There was ours and there was Peggy's. He was supposed to be doing 229 in or the Forge in London, but that one got cancelled. So that was a really special gig. And of course, Dave Sear, he popped up with the Boom Yeah. Have you seen that band?
No, not yet.
Oh, go to my YouTube channel and check out the gig they played. That's a 7-piece. Was it 7-piece? Oh, 6-piece.
I might have seen them up at Lincoln, the Lincoln Jazz Festival.
Ah, right. Yeah. John Speedy and John Speedy's the guitarist.
Is it kind of New Orleans vibe?
No, it's more sort of jazz funk sort of stuff, really.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, three horns and then rhythms. Yeah, but there's a video from that gig online.
Is it Boom YEAH?
YEH. Boom Yeah.
Boom Yeah. All right.
Yeah, check them out. They're good. But yeah, Dave Depp for their trombonist back in April last year. So it's I said last week that I think we'll start doing a loyalty card for the musicians, because some of them have been up 4 or 5 times now. You get 5 stamps and you get a free T-shirt or something.
All right.
I never booked the same bands twice. Well, very very rarely book the same bands twice, but we get people coming through, as is always the way in this world. Is you get people coming through.
So the ticket is to change the name of your band then.
But I've got so many bands to get through, you see. That's the problem. Yeah. So we're booked up through to the end of summer or the beginning of summer. I don't do anything during July and August. And I'm already getting some things starting to line up for the autumn onwards. So
beautiful.
There's plenty to be done. So yeah, looking forward to having the Detroitwich Funk Machine come and play at the Mars Bar. And safe trip up. Hope everyone makes it there. We're praying for good weather, no more storms.
Well, it's about 8 miles from my house, so
there you go. You can almost walk it.
Right. Yeah, I can almost walk it. I'll get the sled dog. Put the amp on the back of the little sled.
Great stuff. So if you're watching this beforehand, doors at 7:30. It's £15 on the door, or you can get complimentary entry with our club membership, which is really taking off. Actually, we had 6 more members sign up in December, so it's become a really good idea. I knew it was from the start.
What is it to join?
It's £20 a month.
Yeah,
so you pay £20 a month, and you get free entry into this. We do 2nd and 4th, so it's 2 gigs a month basically.
Right.
And you get reserved seating, and you get a Music Spoken Here. I'm normally wearing a Music Spoken Here T-shirt, but we have 4 funky designs for that to get through.
All right.
And you also get, because we record the gigs, the audio. If the band agrees to it, then we share the audio recording with the members for 2 weeks afterwards as well. So if you miss the gig, you can at least listen back. So it's well worth it. I mean, I'm practically giving it away, Tom.
You are.
But yeah, that's
£10 a gig is a bargain.
It is indeed, yes. So if you're
And a
watching this before,
t-shirt.
sign up before, and you'll get free entry, a complimentary entry, I should say, because obviously it's paid for.
Call now.
There you go. I'll have to get you to do a radio advert.
Music matters. Call now. With Dave full on. Coming to you at the Mars Bar.
There you go. Cool. Really looking forward to it. And yeah, thanks for your time today, Tom. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, brother.
Take care, my man. See you soon.
Later.